All right. Hello and good morning, everyone. Before we get started, last week when I did a live stream, I talked for about 3 minutes and nobody could hear a word I'm saying. So if you're watching this live on YouTube right now, we have a bit of a delay, so I have to practice this for a little bit. But if you'll just drop in the chat and let me know that you can hear me okay, that way I don't screw this whole thing up, at least not this early in the game. If I'm going to screw it up, let's get 10 or 15 minutes into this. But it's certainly good to see everybody here today. We've been waiting to do this interview for a while, and I know we got a lot of people very interested in this topic that I think are overwhelmed with the amount of work they have to do and not exactly sure where to turn. So I think we're going to be able to solve some of those problems today, or at least give some people some good guidance here. So we'll give ourselves just a second here so I can get some feedback from everybody letting us know that they can hear this okay. If you would, while you're here, if you're watching this live on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button for us. That would be super helpful. It pleases the YouTube gods, and we have to keep them happy. Then more people can find this great content, and the world is a better place. All right, Allison, thank you. She says she hears me okay. So we should just dive into this then, throw caution to the wind. So excellent. Good to see everybody here today. Today we're going to be talking about hiring your first VA. Although if you've already hired a VA before and had some problems, I think this conversation will be really handy to you as well. Even if you're a vet, I think Mira's got tons of experience in this, and you'll probably learn a thing or two there too. So we're going to dive into those kind of questions. What do we need a VA for? How do we find a VA? What kind of work do you send a VA? All those kinds of things. So I guess we'll start this off with an introduction to Mira. I got introduced to her through Rick, who's in our group. He connected us, and I knew that this was definitely a topic that we needed to get out of here. So I'll just pass it over to you, Mira. If you can give us a brief introduction on yourself, tell people a little bit about your background and what you do.
Yes. Hi there, folks. Well, I'm Mira Saia. That's the way we pronounce it in Holland. And almost 49 years old, almost 16 years an entrepreneur. And the thing I do for a living is to match entrepreneurs to the right virtual assistant. I do that for free. The virtual assistants pay me an affiliate, a sort of fee. So that's how I make a living. I also coach and help entrepreneurs with everything around their core business, because there's so much to do except only just working as a whatever you're doing. And I live in Holland, in the Netherlands, and I have 3 dogs. 2 of them are right here. So if they start barking, I will mute myself. And I'm married. What can I tell them? I love tattoos. I love to eat, and that's kind of stuff. And yeah, that's me. So
Fantastic.
is that enough? Do you want to more?
No, that's a fantastic intro. I'm super grateful to have you and all the experience you have in this. I've not hired a VA myself, but I know through a lot of the table program we do, we have a lot of people in that have hired VAs, and it's not always an easy road to go down. I think people do it because they get so stressed out that, like, I just need help, and they think that it's immediately going to alleviate all that stress, and oftentimes it ends up just giving them some more stress. So we're going to try to figure out how we can help that out a bit today. So I guess the first question I want to ask you is, I stay really busy. Some days I feel completely stressed out and pulling my hair out. And I often wonder, is it time for me to get a VA? Is it time for me to get some help? So what are some of the things you would say are good indicators that it's probably time that somebody starts looking looking for a VA?
Well, you said it yourself, stress. That's a lousy feeling. I don't recommend stress to anyone. And also the moments when you're supposed to sit on the couch next to your beloved one, and you're like checking your email, or maybe even working behind your laptop. And I think that you can, how do you say, you can easily have a virtual assistant into your company also before the stress. That's even better, because you explain it exactly the way it is. You're stressed out as an entrepreneur, think, okay, virtual assistant will be my angel, and it can be like a devil. It costs you money, energy, and it's more stress. So it's the indicators are in your own like body, or your wife is saying, are you working again, or etc. And also the list you the list you sent with this thing, or put it, that if you fill it in, and you will feel that you will need a virtual assistant or not. I think most of our need one.
Yeah, and the list you talked about, I did put a link to that if you're watching here. Inside the video description, there's a link to download that checklist. It's something Mira's provided as far as all the kinds of things you can outsource to a VA. So I imagine if you're doing tons of those things yourself, if you're checking a tons of boxes in there, I know
Yeah.
I try to describe what I do for a living, and it's like 10 people's jobs, so it's probably a good indicator too.
Yes, yes, because most of the entrepreneurs I know have like 2 or 3, how do you say, what you love to do the most, and where you earn the most money with, and all the other stuff you can just give it to someone else if you earn enough money to do that. But that will come to that too. Oh, there's dog number 3. Hello. It's a girl. She needs attention too. Yeah.
That's fine. We're dog friendly on this show. Yeah, so I mean, I recognize myself in a lot of those things, and I guess one of the things I wonder is, obviously you have this checklist. I would definitely encourage everybody to download that here. It's free. You don't have to sign up for anything. Just click the link.
No.
But so what are those? What are the common things people hire a VA to do? Obviously, there's tons in that checklist, but maybe you could give us some of the highlights. What are the common things?
The common things I see to do your inbox, just to, well, that's not an easy job to do, but just to handle your emails, and also the social media part, not just they're not like marketing coaches. They will not make up the most incredible marketing funnels or stuff, but just to put some messages out there. My own virtual assistant is also very good in making sales pages. I will for sure make the text, but she will put it on our website. And she's also you can also, if you have a lot of appointments going on in your business, you can of course use Calendly or something like that, but sometimes a person is just needed to call. I'm not sure if you're in, how do you say, with your accountant? Yeah, accountant is the same word. It depends on your accountant, but some virtual assistants can just collect your invoices and stuff like that, because that's always like, oh no, not again, looking for the invoices, where are they, etc. And that's like very, how do you say, the most used virtual assistant stuff.
And you hear a lot of people talk about how stressful their inbox is, and I didn't really I had somebody talk about outsourcing some of their inbox stuff, and I think Michael Killen did a video, y'all can probably look that up on YouTube, about outsourcing your inbox to a VA. And I think that's pretty interesting, because there is so much time we spend inside of our inbox just like sorting and prioritizing. The amount of time we're actually spending like having to critically think and type is probably pretty low compared to the amount of time we're just in there doing busy work. And I imagine a VA could do a lot of that for you.
Yes, especially if you have like frequently asked questions, or a client who says, well, I cannot be at that Zoom meeting, can you schedule me for another thing? Or there's a lot of stuff your virtual assistant can do it for you, or at least like collect the things you have to think about, because you said it well. Most emails you would read it and then, okay, this is the answer. But there are also like questions or proposals you're like, I don't know. And if your virtual assistant will collect them, you can just pick a time in your calendar to think about the more difficult emails. And what we do as an entrepreneur, okay, I can fix this, do that, and then read it again. That proposal. And then, okay, do something, go walking with dogs again. The proposal. And then you lose like an hour on one stupid email, and you don't have the question. So better ask your VA, well, ask me again next morning or something. I don't know what system works for you. But the inbox is for a lot of entrepreneurs like, it's not easy to
And it's never ending. So even if you do get completely caught up, it just fills right back up again. And I think,
Yes,
for a lot of the people that are watching this, probably website designers and developers,
yes,
some of us will set up, forms or systems for clients to send in requests, and then clients never ever actually use that system. They just
no,
email you. That'd be
yes,
great if, a
yes,
VA was just picking up on those things and putting them in your task list or your project
yes.
management board.
It's a very good example. Yes, put it in your task so you can, oh, that client wanted to blah 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 blah, and she can answer. Most of the time they are girls, so I will talk about she and her, and she will answer the client, well, okay, maybe she can also make a schedule, next week he will come to it, etc. So you just can do your job as the website thing you do, and she can do the more social talk and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think about the calendar thing you brought up too. I do use a system to do all that booking, but there's still management of going in there and making sure I'm not getting overbooked or having to
Yes,
reschedule, or when I
yes,
get a meeting with somebody and then they reschedule it and we have to do that back and forth. I waste so much time, just on
yes.
tasks like that.
And it's not your common thing to do. Most of the virtual assistants are secretary or more the like organized girls like I am. They love to organize it again, and you're only thinking, oh my god, not again. So that's also a thing. It's not only the time part, but also the more energy stressy part. It just goes away
Yeah, and
because she will fix it.
Yeah, and you mentioned invoices, accounting type stuff too. Every time I go into my invoicing software and go, oh, I need to follow up with these people, I don't even like being the bad guy. So it would be so nice to have somebody that could just be the bad guy for me. That would be
Yes,
fantastic.
that's also a relieving thing. Yes.
Yeah. All right, so that gives us a good idea. And like I said, if you haven't downloaded that checklist, it is in the description of this video, and it'll go into it. They're all categorized, and there's tons of examples there that I think could get your mind going on the different possibilities of things you could get a VA to do. So what are, there's plenty of places now you can go to hire a VA. I'm sure you can go to Fiverr and find them. There's dedicated websites to just hiring a VA. A lot of times it's, in the Philippines or wherever where the
Yeah.
cost of living is a lot lower, and I think a lot of people go that route because they can't afford a lot in a VA. So there's a lot of room for error here, right? We also might have poor expectations of what a VA can do. You gave the example of social media. Like, they could go in there and probably post these things for you, but they're not going to come up with marketing funnels, right? So we might think, oh, VA can just handle my social media and I don't ever have to touch it. And that's probably a trap too. So what
Yeah,
are
that's
some of those common mistakes people make when they hire a VA and it's not working out for them?
the most common thing I see is like, well, she can read my mind. I'm always like, no, even your wife or husband cannot read your mind. So how can she read your mind? Like, and then they skip like I always recommend, especially if you start working with someone, talk every week. It's okay, only take 15 minutes or 30 minutes to Zoom, but you have to get to know each other. Your virtual assistant has to get to know how your brain works, how you are, but especially how your company is like on the back side. Is that the right word? On the
Back
background,
end.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the back end, yes. And so I always recommend talk, communicate. And also things like, well, the virtual assistant will know everything about my business and my clients and systems in just like a week. But I only have money for 2 hours a week. So no, that's not possible. 2 hours is like, if she opens up her laptop and have one Zoom meeting with you, it's already 30 minutes gone. So it's not I said the word angel somewhere. She can be an angel, but you have to teach her the things you need her to be. And what I do when I match entrepreneurs to a virtual assistant, I always match with I always look at the personality. Because sometimes I have like entrepreneurs very like, how do you say, they are busy and blah, 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 blah. And then I need to put in a virtual assistant with him or her who dares to say, okay, calm down now, first things first. But if you have like more shy or very, very soft type, that won't work. So all the skills and tools you can learn to every person can learn that, but the personality, I always match on that. But that's like how I see the world will get better if you like, you don't have to become friends, but she has to understand you and what makes you tick. That's my, well, I was like, that's my thing. And what I also see is then, well, you met someone, nice virtual assistant, but she's not that good at her job. And well, she's so nice, but she's not good. Just I'll keep her, because otherwise she has a whole family to support. No, 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 no. It's like a working relation, not friendship. So have a talk. If she not it's not improving her work, that's the thing with hire slow, fire fast. I love it. It's like that's please remind that. Hire slow, fire fast. Yeah, that's, I was thinking, well, the marketing thing, it's very when I talk to people in the first conversation with entrepreneurs, like they think they will hire a marketing coach. No, a virtual assistant. Sometimes they even don't have any clue about marketing. Well, they know that it exists, but no, marketing is your thing. She can help thinking along with great pictures with it, or Facebook campaigns maybe, but no, she's not a marketing coach, not an expert.
Yeah, and I imagine, I think part of the problem with that too is you're so, probably by the time you go hire a VA, you're already so past the point you should have done it, that now that timeline becomes really, really stressful, right? So how long do you think it, on average, I know there's going to be a million factors that go into this question, but how long does it take to get in a good rhythm with somebody? You said hire slow, fire fast. How long should we give somebody before we decide they're a good fit or not a good fit?
The first thing with a good fit is always like, well, do you have a good feeling? Not you really your inner gut. So everybody has a good intuition, and you have to listen to that. If your virtual assistant is like good on paper and she's very kind, but you hear something like even I can imagine if you have children, you have this gut feeling when they're doing something that's not right. So it's very small, klingling, but just listen to that. You don't have to explain yourself, just, okay, it does not feel good, just we quit. But on average, if you work like with someone for 4 hours a week, and I think in a month or 2 months, you can say, well, we are a good fit or we are not. I think even sooner. And just in the beginning, it's very handy to write down your feedback. So the good feedback, and also like, oh no, you fucked that up. Sorry for that word. And so if you talk to each other every week, you can tell her immediately, oh, you put that on my website, it looks very good, but please in this email note that you have to write more like this or that. So then you are in this constant learning curve to improve her work, and she will get to know you better when you tell her about those things. So, and I think in a month, 2 months, if you with 4 hours a week. Gotcha. 2 hours, it takes longer.
So I guess I was thinking 4 hours a week doesn't seem like much time. I mean, obviously when you're paying for somebody's time, every hour adds up, but at the same time, I don't know how much somebody can get done in 4 hours in a week, less than an hour a day, if you're working a 5-day week. So where do you think the sweet spot is for somebody that's wanting to do it part-time, let's say, not 40 hours a week and a full-time employee, but where's a good place for them to start, like a target? 10 hours a week? Is it 4 hours a week? What would you say on that?
I'm not sure if can you ask it?
Yeah. So obviously 4 hours isn't a whole lot of time for somebody to work for you. I don't imagine they're going to get a lot done. But if you're if you're not ready for 40 hours, what's a good sweet spot in there?
4 hours can be enough. My virtual assistant is like working 5 hours a week. So, and I think I have okay, I can do a lot of myself, but the sweet spot is in, I think, in the area where you lose the most of your energy, where you get the most stressy feelings from. So if it's like your inbox, well, okay, to be honest, with an inbox, if you want to outsource your inbox, at least someone has to work with you like 5 or 6 hours a week, because especially when you have a very full inbox. But pick that part that makes your head goes into your say, oh no, not that part again. So also a feeling thing.
Yeah. And I imagine that's just going to be different for everybody.
Yes, that's very, for each entrepreneur has the red flag area is different. So yeah.
And I think one of the fears people have is obviously to find that rhythm, to find somebody that's a good fit, and finally you did find somebody, they're a great fit, they're doing great work. How reliable is a VA just broadly in their profession? Are these people doing this to make money temporarily until they can get a better real job, or are these people doing this is what they want to do, and you could have them potentially for years?
Um, in the Netherlands and Belgium, the virtual assistants, I know there are a lot nowadays. They are really like professional driven women who really have chosen for this. They're also entrepreneurs, of course, and they really want to have a long-term relationship with their clients. That's my opinion. They are developing themselves, and I have not that much experience with like more the agencies in the Philippines and stuff. I had a conversation with an entrepreneur through you a few weeks ago, and he was telling like, I think $15 an hour. I was in shock, because here's like 50 euros an hour at least. So that's not to compare. So I think the more, well, that's a very foreordeal. How do you say? I have this sort of feeling, but I'm not sure if I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong. That the in like the more poor parts of this world, I can imagine they just do it to make a living. They can be good in their at what they do, but I presume that they are like, well, it's so less money, $50 an hour. How can you live? Okay, but the women I know and one guy are very, it's driven the word, huh? Yeah, like, okay, let's do this together with my clients. Let's make that business run more smoothly. So sometimes they get pregnant or take a long holiday, but well,
Happens to
that's
all of
the
us.
thing. Yeah, it happens. And with my construction, I have this whole team. So when someone is having a baby or stuff, we're like, okay, is there another one who can fit in this thing for 3 months or something? So that's also nice if you work with an agency instead of working alone virtual assistant.
Sure.
If she falls down, your assistant is falling down. So
Right.
you have to do it yourself.
And you know, it's kind of a two-way street too. Like we want to find somebody that's a good employee, but we also want to be a good employer at the same time,
Yes.
right? So, what are the
Yeah.
kinds of things VAs are typically looking for in a good, somebody they'd really want to work hard for? Is it, obviously location independent is going to be just the way things are now, but is it flexible hours? Is it the type of work, or what kinds of things are they typically looking for?
Nice question. Never had this one before. So I'm like, what I know from myself and what I hear from my team is they like to also earn money, of course, but to have to get compliments. Yeah, it's so simple. But I had lots of clients, they were just like only complaining if something went wrong and just going on through the day-to-day stuff. And it's so nice to hear once your client says, well done, or let's send a present. Just so more of the because every virtual assistant thing is they're like real helpers. They really want you to be at your best. They're real supporters. So they're that makes them tick. So some of the virtual assistants are very like getting almost high on the inbox, and others just like putting stuff in Publer to that's very per person.
Yeah, it's going to change person to person.
Yes, but they all like to, well, just tell them if you're glad with them. Just tell them that, because they're always saying, okay, what went wrong? Give me feedback so I can improve myself. And so that's so nice to tell them, such a good job. And because you have this, the feeling is getting more. That's so nice for you as an entrepreneur, and also for the virtual assistant. You do it together instead of you just sweating alone behind your laptop.
Yeah, and I imagine that's probably extremely true in the fact that I think a lot of people that are hiring a VA kind of feel like they're above them in many ways, and like, here, this is what you're going to do. And I mean, everybody likes to be appreciated, right? So I think that's a good thing to keep in mind. Like, if you want to have somebody that's going to work hard for you, you also need to work hard to be a good employer for them and do the things that, you know, are going to be important and motivate them to do a good job. So definitely something worth thinking about. All right, so I guess this is the question everybody wants to know is, where do you find a good VA? How do you sort through the millions of people out there that are possibilities and actually find somebody that's going to be good for your company?
Yes. I recommend to do it through an agency, because when you put on like a sort of ad or just shout it on LinkedIn, I'm looking for a virtual assistant, then everything goes wrong, because there were like a exploding inbox and stuff. If you work with an agency, well, the agency is, I know, there are not a lot of them in Holland, but like how I do it, you have a very good intake. So you as an entrepreneur can really tell what are your goals for your company, but also with working with a virtual assistant. Are you like a very, how do you say, ongeduldig, impatient type of guy? So we have to have a virtual assistant who can resist that, etc. So if you work with an agency, they also have, if they do it the right way, they have a team. So they will pick the right one to match with you as a person, as a company. And also, if it's not working, okay, this one didn't work, we have another one for you. So if they get pregnant or ill, we have another one for you. When I started with virtual assistant, not even had a name then, so I was like an online secretary or something. But then there were no agencies, and but I, for myself, working as a virtual assistant, had this intake also, because I wanted to know, who are you? So if you do it by yourself, it's possible, but please then make the whole way towards conversation. We talked about this in our mastermind Monday, about I'm not sure how it's called, all the online, you have to let them fill in a lot of questions online before they're coming to talk to you. So if you want to look for your virtual assistant yourself, please make an online form, let them fill it in with all the difficult questions you can imagine, or ask me for some difficult questions. I will share them with you. But so you have to do a lot of work before the talk. If you know what, did I make myself clear enough? Like, oh, okay.
You have to pre-qualify them and make sure you're getting plenty.
That's the word. Yeah,
you're good.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I had it on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, and I think that's important anytime you're hiring somebody, right? Or even, we talked about recently pre-qualifying clients, so I think that's important too.
It's the same thing, pre-qualifying also your new accountant, pre-qualifying your whatever. So pre-qualify, yes, and let it do. If you do that, if they do something for you online, so you just can do your job and wait for their answers, and then if you have a good feeling, if they're like smart, give good questions, then invite them for a talk through Zoom, and then ask them difficult questions again, of course, and trust your inner gut.
Yeah, that's always important. I think there's a lot, we in the admin bar community, there's a lot of threads and talks about people's virtual assistants and their employees that might do things that maybe there's not a lot of crossover. I don't think everybody has a good definition of what is work for a virtual assistant and what is work for somebody that's, kind of like a part-time developer or something. So I guess what are the skills your average VA is going to have where somebody could know, okay, I need a VA, or I probably need to hire somebody with the more technical skills of what I'm looking for?
That's it's a lot of the time it's like it's a gray area. So that's a good. It's also the thing, the skill set, and it's developing right now very fast. So if you asked me this question like 3 years ago, I would have said, well, of course, for the developer, you have this kind of skill. So just tick the boxes and it's a developer, junior developer. But there's a lot of crossover. So that's a difficult question to have an answer right now.
Yeah, and I imagine, obviously, if you find the right person that's open to learning new things, there's a lot of things we do that they're technical. The average person isn't going to walk in the door and know how to do them, but they're not real difficult. You have to learn how to do it, right? So
yes.
I guess there's, in pre-qualifying that VA, that'd be a good question to ask them. Like, are you interested in learning how to go in and update content on a website?
Yes. Because nowadays I think I've used to update content on the website, but nowadays I think more techie VAs will tell, no, that's my job. And it's a gray area. If they are like interested, if they're smart, if they're willing to learn, you can, so that's not a fixed answer to the question, but
yeah, I mean, hopefully. I think it's definitely, even though there isn't a perfect answer, I think it's important to bring up. Chris said here in the chat that's her issue. Most of her tasks seem too proprietary or technical for a VA, and I guess that's when you got to go back and look and say, okay, do I actually need to hire somebody that's a developer instead of a VA?
Yes, and sometimes you learn those things if there's someone is working in your company. Then you're like, oh no, I don't need this kind of person. I need that kind of person.
Right.
It's always learning by doing, I think, also.
Well, when I set up the registration for this call, I put a field in that form and asked everybody if they had questions for you. And we got a bunch of questions in here. So I'm going to start going through some of those. I shared this list with you, so I at least got your mind spinning on those a little bit. Mm-hmm. If people that are watching live do have questions, pop those in the chat. And I had the chat, I got like 3 screens going over here, but I got the chat open over here watching it, doing my best. But if you have specific questions that you'd like me to ask Mira while we're on this call, go ahead and pop those in there and we'll try to get to some of those as well. So one person that registered for the call, Chris, he asked, he's working 3 days running his company and the 2 days left in the work week. He's wondering if he hired a VA to work those 2 days, would he need to be involved at all?
If your virtual assistant is like used to, how do you say, is ingewerkt, is more, not the first week. I would say, well, it's handy to have you around too. But if she's really experienced in how to handle things, you are not needed. Of course not, because most of the virtual assistants also work part-time. So it's handy to have a little bit of overlap, of course, to have your meeting. But no, it's not, you don't have to be involved. No. In fact, I was laughing when I oh no, then my virtual assistant working today, I have to be at work too. No, that's not the thing. No.
Yeah,
because
that's kind of the beauty of it. They can be doing things while you go do what you want to do.
Yes, and sometimes I have like this thing that needs to be done on Friday, and I'm like, I'm telling my virtual assistant, well, I'm walking and taking a long walk with the dogs, but you may call me if there's something urgent I need to decide. So you can always make that kind of appointments yes, about it.
Yeah.
But most of the time they do things, they're not working in a hospital, so they're not like heart surgeons. No, there's nothing is very important, to be honest. We think it is, but it's not.
That's true.
Sorry. Yeah.
we overinflate our own importance for sure.
Yes. Unfortunately, yes.
This is a question that came up a few times in what people, they phrased it a little bit differently, but basically people worried about giving a VA, somebody that's not an employee of their company, somebody that's not deeply integrated into their company, access to their clients websites or things like that. So what kind of safety measures can you put in place to make sure you're not damaging your own business by bringing somebody else in who's not closely related?
Well, I always work with a contract. Most of the virtual assistants have this contracts with all the things about how do you say
like confidentiality
and responsibility. So, and they have insurances for messing things up.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to check that those kind of arrangements and what's that word? You have to really check what contract they have. Maybe you have a contract as well. So that's you only can do that, because when you work with people, there will mistakes. Even you can mess that website up. So I'm trying to not say fuck. So I'm not sure if it can happen. So just have a contract. So if shit hits the fan, you can solve it that way. But yeah,
I mean, that's just the risk you're going to take if you're going to bring anybody else into your business.
That's the risk of life. If you like also fall in love with someone, you don't have a clue. Yeah,
that's a good point. All right, Joshua asked about the things you should not ask your VA to handle, which I think is an interesting question. So what things should we not be asking for
What were you thinking about, Joshua? Not to ask your virtual assistant. She's not the marketing expert, of course, and she's also some of the virtual assistants, of course, they are more smarter than other people, but not about the big strategic stuff. Maybe you've heard already the term or position online business manager or integrator. Oh no, someone at the door.
You're good. It's the magic of being live. It's all good.
And normally you get this message like where the post is ready for you, but if you really want to have someone who can think about strategy, think more about marketing, then you need an online business manager, to put it very simple. But you cannot ask a virtual assistant to do that, also because of their lower price an hour. So and what can you not ask? And I think you can also ask her to buy flowers for your wife if she's so, I think, or order flowers. So you can also use her like a personal assistant, but like the more,
What about are people taking their VA into meetings with clients online, or how much client interaction, like direct interaction, are people typically having with their VA?
That also depends on what you want. If you have your virtual assistant sitting in the Zoom meeting with the client, so she can take notes, or maybe I was talking to you like, how many screens? 3 screens? Well, you can use the virtual assistant to do the technical stuff behind, so you just can be in the meeting. And if you don't like contact with your clients as much, you can also for the virtual assistant, like, oh, well, she will talk to you and give you all the information. So is that like answer enough?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
it's always up to you if what you want and how much interest she has in your company as well.
Yeah, I think that just goes back to your point about pre-qualifying them and figuring out, like, go through that checklist that Mira's provided. The link's down here in the description of this video. Go through the checklist, make a list of all those things you want a VA to do. And then when you're qualifying these VAs, you need to make sure that you're finding the right kind of person, that if you do want them to have a lot of client interaction, well, then you probably need to make sure they're friendly and that they speak the language you and your clients speak fluently, right?
Yes.
Or that you're not going to be embarrassed for them to be having communication, because obviously that's going to be a problem. Now, if you don't plan on your clients ever even knowing you have a VA, then how friendly they are probably doesn't matter that much, you know, as long as you can make things happen, right?
Yes. Yes.
So we had a question here which I thought was really interesting, and I posted in the group this week actually about some, you know, ethics issues inside of our industry as web developers. And this one kind of falls along that. And Chandler, I'll just read out this whole thing, but Chandler asked, having a VA, especially someone from a country with a lower cost of living, has always seemed like wage exploitation to me. The draw of having a VA is intrinsically due to their relatively inexpensive cost compared to the work they're asked to perform. VA jobs are in demand, and there appears to be a race to the bottom on price while ignoring the human toll. How can you make sure that you're paying fair compensation to your VA and not just exploiting them as cheap labor?
I have to, it's a thing in Holland and Belgium, and I don't know any entrepreneur who's using a more, how did he put it, the more lower cost of living virtual system, because of we speak Dutch, so
sure.
Then we always have to translate it in English, and then it comes back and I have to translate it in Dutch. So we don't use that kind of platforms. When I was talking to I forgot his name, he used someone from the Philippines, and he had also this sort of creepy feeling about it. And then I come again with, well, some things give you a creepy feeling, and the answer is in this question. So it, for me, even if I was in the United States, it feels not right to pay such a low amount of money to someone, even if they're living in a country with lower cost. I want to, this is really, this has never ever happened. It's
all good.
I want to pay people the price they deserve. It's like, it's funny to say, but they're experts if you have the right one.
Right.
So why should you pay like only $15 if, that's it's very cheap, but it's handy maybe for your own. No, I don't think it's right to work with cheap labor. It doesn't fit me as a person.
I've talked to some people here in the U.S. that hire people in the Philippines, developers and things like that, and they say, well, yeah, I'm paying them, you know, we'll just use the $15 an hour. I don't know what he's paying them, but you know, whatever he's paying them here would be really low wage for somebody with their skill set. But in their country, they're getting paid like a high professional with a degree, you know? So some of that is relative. And if you're paying somebody, you know, they'd have to go to school for 6 years to become a doctor, whatever, to make that kind of money, and you're able to pay that to them. Is that wrong? It's such a gray area. I don't know how to answer. I'm not expecting you to give us the final say on that, but it is like something.
Like this, then he can help his family. So it's a very big gray area. So we don't have the answer. Just do what feels right for you again. Yeah,
and I mean, I think obviously if you're asking that question, or if hearing that question makes you feel a little uncomfortable about doing it, then again, trust your
And
gut, and it's probably
yes,
not the right fit for you. That doesn't mean you have to condemn somebody else that is totally fine with it.
no,
To each their own.
you.
Right. But if it doesn't feel good to you, it's probably not good. And I do think a lot of people are attracted to those kinds of systems because of the cost, right? And
Because yes,
if you're just hiring this person because they're so cheap, then it probably is some sort of
yeah,
exploitation, because otherwise you wouldn't be hiring them, right?
yes,
If you're just looking for the best person and that person happens to be in the Philippines, and I'm not trying to pick on the Philippines, it's just a good
yeah,
example,
yeah,
then
yes,
totally fine. But if you're only hiring somebody because you can get away with paying them $5 an hour, it's
yeah.
probably not the right choice.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's no good answer. There's no way for somebody else to answer that for somebody.
No, that's the thing.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more? We'll get close here to wrapping this up. Like I said, if anybody does have any questions they want to pop in the chat, go for that, and I'll try to get those in here. But why don't you tell us more about your service and how that works? Are people that are watching this now that are interested, can they reach out to you and you provide matchmaking services for them? Why don't you just
Yes.
give us some pitch time here?
Oh no, pitching. Yeah, no, the how I because I believe in this personality thing, you can if you're obviously you're an entrepreneur and you're listening and like, okay, I think I may need a virtual assistant. I'm very interested. Then please reach out to me. I'm not my email address is on the checklist as well. I speak sort of English, and and I can also always match you, of course, on a Dutch or Belgium. I have also Belgium virtual assistants, because in our area we most of the time you can also talk in English, and the only difference is, I was telling you already, it's 50 euro an hour at least. So that's also a good thing to think about. And if you're really interested in a virtual assistant, please contact me, because I know there can be a lot of insecurities, or like, is it not too expensive? Do I really need it? Or what if I'm not satisfied, etc. So I will make time for you to just answer all the questions. And well, maybe I can also match you to the right girl in town. So, well, not in town, but you know what I mean. And when I'm in the conversation, I'm always listening to, do you really need a virtual assistant, or do you need more or something else? So I'm not a real sales girl, like, okay, come on, let's match you. No, because maybe you need a therapist, or maybe you need more of a marketing coach, because of I will get a question a lot. Can I hire a virtual assistant for my marketing? No, you can hire me for your marketing as a coach. But so, is that pitch time enough?
No, I mean, that's
I'm not good
fantastic.
at this.
I would just out of my own curiosity, I would love to know, like, okay, so let's say after this call, I hang up with you and I email you immediately and say, okay, I'm in. This is what I need. What does that process look like? How long does it
The,
take? When do we
it
get started?
takes me a little bit of time to put the intake form into English. So, but when it's set up, then it normally takes like a day or two when I give you the form, and then it takes you 10, 20, maybe 30 minutes to just fill it in. I hate my little dog. And if I get the answers back, then I'll read first. Of course, I read it, and when I'm thinking, no, I cannot work with people who selling guns or stuff. They're
Sure.
not here, I think. But then I'm like, no, you're not my kind of person. But most of the time, I immediately give you the link to my online calendar, so you can put yourself in. And then we have a conversation through Zoom for 45, 60 minutes. And I will ask you questions. Of course, you have questions for me. And I really zoom into your answers, because I really want to know you as a person. I really want to understand your business. And so I can really understand what kind of virtual assistant are you looking for if you are looking, if the virtual assistant is the right solution for your stress or problem right now. Because when you fly in a virtual assistant in the middle of total chaos and stress, that won't work, because the virtual assistant will also know what the hell. So then I will say most of the time, maybe I can help to get you rest and less stress, and just, or maybe a therapist, or yeah.
Maybe both. Might be time for both. All right. Well, fantastic. I really appreciate you coming on here and talking with us about this. It's honestly something, I don't have any experience with it, and it's something I've always been curious about, but nervous to pull the trigger on. But we've had enough time together. You know that I'm probably at that point where I need to start thinking about it too, because I am freaking out a little bit with the things I have to do. So I will say though, I am hiring my 12-year-old son to be my virtual assistant for the summer. His last day of school was yesterday, so I spent a good couple hours this morning putting together some processes for him and some steps to take. And he's going to be doing some more of the technical stuff, though. I'm going to have him in client websites this summer doing some updates. So I know
it's the most youngest and cheapest virtual assistant I think there's in the world.
That's true. That's true. He's pretty happy with the pay. So
yes, of course.
We'll see. He's getting the business experience too, which I think is good. So a good way to there's another avenue too.
Yeah, just wait 12 years. And you can also take that road. Yeah.
There you go. Well, if my son does a really good job this summer, I might just.
My team, of course.
Right,
yes.
No doubt. Okay. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Mira, for joining us today. Nice. Mira is inside the admin bar community. So if you have questions, there's a post in there already about this call. But if you have questions, you weren't at connection here. Oh, you're back. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes, we're back.
Okay.
Yes, and one little thing about Facebook. Facebook and me, we're not friends.
Gotcha.
So I will do my best to look at Facebook a couple of days from now. And I'm not ignoring you, I'm just ignoring Facebook. So please send me an email. I'm very good with email.
There we go. There we go. Well,
don't hesitate.
If you just think of it while you're in Facebook, ping me, and I see Mira once a week, so I'll make sure to get those questions to her. So, all right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend, and I really appreciate you coming on with us today.